Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CQ the Watch Guy podcast with me, CQ the Watch Guy. And yeah, here we are back again in Miami at the DavidSW headquarters. Back on top, the weather is nice and cool today. And here we are in March. Can you believe it? It's insane. Football is over, a little sad there, but F1 has begun. First race in Bahrain is already over. Max Verstappen and Red Bull is they've already took their first victory, and we have the Morgan Stanley report that we all, the watch nerds and the watch business geeks, especially like myself, wait for. Morgan Stanley and Lux Consult always publish this report, and it's the top 50 brands of 2023 of the year before. They do these yearly reports and comparisons, and it's a great dive, a great insight into the business performances of the previous year for what's going on with the brands, right? And it's a very interesting look under the hood of the industry, and especially in these past years where things have been so volatile and so many things have been going on in different regions around the world, especially with COVID and everything. You get to see how things are performing, how brands have been rebounding. So it's been a really interesting look. So let's take a little quick peek of what's going on. And I think, to no surprise, when you look at the top 50, the top 10, the top 5, nothing really is super surprising there. At number one, you have Rolex. And just like Max Verstappen this weekend, they have a pretty healthy lead. So they topped 10 billion Swiss franc, 10.1 billion Swiss franc in turnover in revenue. So that's about 11 plus billion Swiss US dollars. Their 1.2 million units produced is in estimation there. A lot of watches, a lot of revenue, but the demand is so strong. So it's kind of always been kind of estimated there. So the gap, which is interesting, is your second runner-up is Cartier at $3 billion, 660,000 watches produced. And, when you look at Cartier, a lot of quartz pieces in there. And this is to be expected. That gap is to be there. Rolex is by far the greatest leader in terms of watches sold, especially in the luxury industry. So nobody's really looking for anything to be shaken up there, in my opinion. Especially, again, you compare really like to F1. It's really you're looking for things to be the same there. I don't think anybody expects Rolex to not be number one for a very, very long time. Is really as you go down the standings is where you look for things to be interesting, right? Especially as you go back historically in the past 4, 5, 6 years. In the number 2 spot, let's go back 4 or 5 years ago in 2019, you had Omega at number 2, right? And since 2020, Cartier has solidly took that spot. And I think Cartier has been doing a really good job in releasing amazing models, doing a really good job connecting with their communities. They've had a really good resurgence in their vintage pieces. Their vintage Cartier market has exploded. Just look at the Cartier Crash market if you want to hone in on a specific model to see how that's been doing some amazing things. The Elton John Cartier Crash just went the mid $200,000 range at auction as well. So you've been seeing really great things there, and they're just kind of humming along. Omega doing some great things as well. Just announced the White Dial Speedmaster 2, but Cartier just seems to be punching really, really strong. So it'd be interesting to see if and how Omega can take back the number 2 position, but I don't think we're talking about anybody really jumping into the number 1 spot anytime soon there. If you trickle on down, number 4, you have AP, number 5, Patek. That's another spot there where Patek was really solid, number 4 for a long time. You go back on the list, 2020, you have Patek at number 4, and Longines was actually number 5. And I think that speaks really to the Asian market being a really strong performer for Longines. With COVID and all the lockdowns, I think that really affected the Asian market by a long shot. And now with them being back fully open, you're going to see a big rebound for a lot of brands there. Another big thing, and this is a big report, and you're going to find this all over, and I do invite you, if you have some time and you love the details, there's a lot of information to be chewed on here, and it's just interesting to see how brands perform year over year. But the biggest takeaway to me that you could take from reports like this is, one, the overall primary market is doing pretty well. You could say that everything's back. I think year over year, there's growth around 7-ish or so percent. Everybody's doing pretty well. You could say high-end watches are doing well. Independents are definitely on the rise, where some groups are doing okay or they're kind of neutral there, you say, or a little bit more of a slower growth. But a lot of indies are really sneaking up the list. Some highlighted brands that really spoke to me: Jacob & Co. at number 33, 146 million revenue, 2,750 pieces produced. Very, very interesting to see that they're really punching up there at number 33. F. Fijourne at number 37. H. Moser right under them at 38. And that's really interesting to see smaller brands punching up there, you know, above bigger pieces like UN, Gerard Perregaux. I mean, you know, they're up there right under Harry Winston and Gucci and Zenith. So that's really interesting to see. And even rounding up the top 50 at number 50, Grubel Forsey. So why that's so interesting to me, they only produce 250 pieces, 255. They got in 50 million Swiss francs, average selling price 313,000. But to me, that is such an inspiring thing to see, because if you're somebody who really enjoys independent brands, you really enjoy supporting very niche watchmakers, you can see that there's longevity there. You can see that you can support a very niche watchmaker and they can have economic success, which means that a brand that you support, you know, you can invest in a watch that's a little bit avant-garde, it's a little bit out there, and know that it can find success and it'll be out there for a long time, meaning that your piece will have good value and you can, you know, be able to trade and see that your piece will do good in the market for a long time. So kudos to a lot of the brands here, and very, very interesting to see how a lot of the brands are performing. Also interesting to see that if you mushed everything together, all the groups, you have Swatch probably close to Rolex, but still not performing, just to a testament to their strength there. And Hermes is an independent, doing pretty good there. And Breitling at number 9, doing very, very strong. Richard Mille at number 6 as well. So overall, primary markets doing strong. Rolex is still the king, so just polish up the crown and keep it going. And as you go into Watches and Wonders, everything seems to be good. So this is a very important snapshot to take. So this is one to save, to compare to next year. I think 2024 is going to be a very interesting year, because now the market's stabilized, primary and secondary. The wait lists are in an interesting situation where, of course, your primary brands, your Rolex, your AP Patek, you're still, you know, you're on a long wait list and things like that. But other brands, your secondary brands, those are gone now, right? So brands are gonna have to work a little bit more hard to get the consumer's dollars. So you're gonna have to introduce better product. You're having to treat your clients and your enthusiasts a little bit better. So I'm interested to see who's gonna be able to who's gonna take pole position on this list next year when this list come out. So very, very interesting news, and let's see what happens, man. I'm excited for 2024. I want to see what comes out. I mean, Omega's already breaking the internet with a white Speedmaster. I'm going to talk to you more about that next week, because I want to get some good in the metal shots of it, but it already looks great and everybody's already talking about it. So that's gonna be already climbing on the top on many, many wish lists, I'm sure. Either way, let's get into some watches of the week, and let's get started with Omega. Why not? Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra Worldtimer GMT. I love these. These pop in every once in a while, and to me, Omega does a lot of things great, and the main thing for me is aesthetics plus value equals Omega. That is the Omega equation, and that is the Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra Worldtimer GMT. 75 full set, right? You get a Worldtimer GMT, beautiful blue dial, laser ablated. Look at the center of this watch. Laser ablated world view from the North Pole. So if you take a nice look, a zoomed in look at the center of this this dial, you have a laser ablated or laser engraved view of the world from the North Pole. So it's beautifully engraved. You have some depth there, and it just even the ocean has waves. So for this price point, you just don't get watches like that. In-house master coaxial movement is going to last you a long time. It's a tank. You can beat it up. You can have fun with it. You can swim with it. You can dive with it a little bit. Don't scuba dive, but you can still see some turtles with it. Who else is giving you this type of quality for this type of price point? Not many other brands are doing it. I think it's a watch that you should be taking a look at. If you're looking for something fun, looking for something unique, you want something with a unique function, you're looking for a dual time watch, and you're looking for something that's aesthetically pleasing that can jump into your collection, I think this is a piece that you should have in your collection. And again, for the price point, you're getting so much watch here. Definitely a piece I think you should be looking at. And don't be afraid to put this on a shop. It looks great on a bracelet, but I definitely put this on a blue shop. I even put it on a black shop. You can make it a little bit more dressy as well, or even have some fun. Put it on a NATO, take it to the beach, right? It'll look great in some flip-flops. Moving on down to another watch. I could see this in some flip-flops on Miami Beach with a little cigar, a little cafecito. This is a nice Root Bear Rolex 1675 GMT on a beautiful leather strap. So this one's a Root Bear from 1975. Beautiful chocolate dial, giving a little bit of almost a reddish chocolate hue there. Nice bezel. So when I look at these older vintage Root Bears, even GMTs, even Pepsis and Cokes, I'm really looking at for a nice crispy bezel, right? I want to be able to turn that bezel. I want to feel the bezel. I don't want it to be super smooth, and that's what we have here. The case is in really good condition, and again, price point. I love vintage pieces where I want to be able to get into something at a good price point and not have to worry about, breaking the bank if I got to service it. I don't want to have to worry about searching for a specialist to service my watch when things go wrong. And that's what you get when you're going into vintage Rolex, especially when you're sticking to, subs and GMTs and things like that. It's not going to cost an arm and leg to get it serviced. And a large swath of watchmakers or just a Rolex service center can look at your piece and get it serviced without it, costing an arm and a leg. Beautiful piece. You can have so much fun with this watch. I love it on the strap. Just amazing character. And to me, just with the gold and this beautiful chocolate dial, that beautiful creamsicle Root Bear bezel, has an amazing character. You could dress it up, dress it down, have some fun with it on the beach. Don't dip it in the water. Maybe it stays on the shore, but it definitely won't mind having a cocktail and watching the sunset with you for sure. That's an amazing fun watch, great watch to gift yourself, and definitely a piece to enjoy, some quality time and just a joy to look at. And I love where the price is for something like that. And a really fun piece we got in here, moving on down, Rolex Day-Date 18039 Tridor 36 millimeter. So Tridors are really fun pieces. So basically on a Tridor, you have a Day-Date that is mostly white gold, but when you get to the bezel, you got 18 karat yellow gold. Then when you go on a bracelet, on the outer you have white gold. You go into the middle link. The middle link starts out rose gold. Then you have yellow gold on the sides. Then in the center you have white gold, giving you a triple color of the gold. So all golds on one bracelet, giving you this really unique looking bracelet. On this particular one, you have a champagne diamond dial. It's just a fun watch, but it's exotic without being too flamboyant, if that makes sense. It's not a loud watch, but it's just like a fun Rolex. And it's one of those pieces you could go to like a Rolex meetup. You could be in a room full of Rolex enthusiasts and still have a piece that stands out, that's out there from the crowd. And it's just a fun piece. You don't see these every day. 17875 box with no papers, but again, really good price for these pieces. And just something unique, great for him, great for her, great size, and a really good condition on this one as well. I think just a piece they don't make. I don't see them really ever circling back to Tridor unless they really find a really good anniversary reason to. But it's one of those that just a unique Rolex that for some reason they made, that they probably will never look back at, that you can still find them in really good conditions, enjoy them, have a lot of fun. Always a great conversation piece. And again, at 17875, can stand out in the crowd without going into the six figures. Really, really special pieces. And again, things like these, you just don't see them every day, just because the vintage is really coming. I don't think it ever went out of fashion, but now kind of that neo vintage is really getting stronger into the atmosphere. More and more people are digging and really hunting into the catalogs. So things like these, you just don't see them anymore, just because so many people are just grabbing them and enjoying them so much, which is awesome. So when things like these pop up, I do think if you can see yourself wearing it and enjoy it, it's worth the swing. It's definitely worth the swing. Get it on the wrist, have some fun, take it for a night out, see what happens. You'll be pleasantly surprised, I assure you. Last but certainly not least, we have the AP Royal Oak Offshore 26238 Ti. I don't know if this one has a nickname, but I guess you could call it the new beast, the titanium beast. So this is a re-edition of the 42 millimeter Offshores, kind of a re-edition or a tribute to the original Offshores that came out in the early 90s and 93, the Beast, right? But this one is using the newer upgraded movements. This was part of a series that came out in 2021, and I really love that they did this, because I love that generation of Offshores, right? Those are the Offshores that kind of changed the world again when we're talking about Royal Oaks, right? They kind of, like, when they came out, they were bigger, they're bulky, they're called the Beast. Who's gonna wear these huge watches? And Stallone and Schwarzenegger put them on, and everybody fell in love with them. And when I came into the industry in the 2013, 14, 15, when I really hit the secondary market, that's when everybody, and I really fell in love with, the themes. So the Navy, the Safari, everybody had these types of APs, and they're really in fashion. So I really love this generation of Offshore very much. So I enjoy seeing this piece and seeing this generation, because newer movement, exhibition case back, quick change of bracelet, which is so awesome. You don't have to fiddle around with a screwdriver and try to break something. And this one comes with the rubber strap and a buckle as well. So I will get this piece and have so many strap options, because with this beautiful titanium case, gray dial, black sub dials, you could do so many great color combination with your straps and your stitchings, with this piece. You could have a really lot of fun, but it still gives you that like 90s, early 2000s vibe and feel, while under the hood it's as modern as you can get for AP. So really glad to see that they did this, and these are really good price right now, $46,875 for a completely full set, and this one is in excellent condition. So if you're looking for something, again, you're AP fan, or you love AP, you're an enthusiast, you want to dip your toes in the AP pond, but you want to go in the real way, the Offshore way, I think this is a great way to go. And again, you're getting that size, that big Offshore size, but because it's titanium, you're getting a nice feeling watch. It's not going to overpower you. It's not like the platinum brick or the gold brick, where at the end of the day, you're kind of, you're dragging a little bit. This is going to be really well-balanced wear, and something you can get away wearing all weekend from morning to evening, and it's not going to make your wrist tired. Yes, for this and many more watches, make sure you check out DavidSW.com. I'm CQ the Watch Guy. Make sure you buy what you love.